Bahrain 55.
Well, hello and welcome to Beat Lab. And what is Beat Lab, I hear you ask? Well, that's a very good question, and here is your answer. I'm Marie-Claire. I'm going to be coming into your living room live every Friday night at 9 o'clock, repeated Mondays at 8 o'clock. And, well, here's how it works. Before the show starts, we'll have a whole list of songs that you can either call us or email us to request. You can talk to me live on air, have a little chit-chat and send a dedication while asking for the song and video that you want to be listening to. That's Beat Lab, part of it, because we've also got a top 20 countdown for you every week. And if that's not enough, we'll have all of the latest juicy gossip. So there you have it, Beat Lab in theory. But in practice this week, it's completely different. As our first episode, we've got a great surprise for you. We had Gabrielle here last week, didn't you? Now, born Louise Gabrielle Bobb on the 16th of April, 1970 in London, England, British house R&B vocalist Gabrielle began her career singing for free in London's West End clubs. Her overnight success came when they re-recorded a demo called Dreams, based around Tracy Chapman's Fast Car. The track was re-recorded without the Chapman sample after falling into the hands of an A&R man at London's Go Beat Records and ended up in the Guinness Book of Records as the highest UK chart entry for a debut female act, topping the charts for 3 weeks. With the hit came a head-turning image complete with kiss curl and sequined eye patch, as Gabrielle's right eye has a dropped lid. Ignoring cosmetic surgery, she turned what might have been an image setback into a virtue that set her apart from the pack. Her debut album, Find Your Way, sold over 1 million copies worldwide and paved the way for her sophomore self-titled album, released in 1996, produced by the Boiler House Boys. In 3 short years, those 2 albums, 9 singles and 5 singles of which were top 10 hits, they established Gabrielle as the UK's premier soul vocalist and award-winning female singer and songwriter who's earned a high commercial profile via a series of perfectly released and expertly pitched singles. Here are some clips from Gabrielle's journey that made her dream come true. And now, with everything you've done, is there any one thing that you haven't yet achieved that you want to do?
There's many things I still haven't done, but it's one of those things where, you know, like I'd like to play guitar. I'm learning guitar at the moment, and it would be a dream of mine to be able to just go out there and play a few songs with my band members, you know, because we've got like an acoustic section in my set, and I'm like, if you ever see me performing, I always play a lot of air guitar. I've heard there's competitions actually, but that would be my dream, and there's many more, but I think the less I say, if they come true, it might, you know.
Yeah. Don't want to jinx it.
Yeah.
Well, best of luck for tomorrow and for everything to come. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Bahrain 55.
Mommy, it's over.
Well, hello and welcome to Call In, Call Out. Wishing you a very happy Ramadan. This is the game show where you could win 100 dinars by simply sitting at home watching television. I'm Mary Claire, inviting you to join me every night during Ramadan for a whole lot of fun and games. To take part, all you have to do is give us a call. The number to dial is 17871 441. Again, that's 17871 441. The rules are very simple. Each game has two players who will play against each other in the hope of not getting called out. There are 6 categories and 12 questions. Each question is to be answered in a 20-second time limit, and the number of points awarded for each question depends on how much time is left on the clock after answering the question correctly. For example, if it takes you 15 seconds to answer, that leaves 5 seconds on the clock, which means you get 5 points. The player with the most points at the end of the game will be the winner. Sounds simple, huh? Or not, because we do have a couple of catches coming your way. During the game, a random crank call will interrupt. When that happens, the player who receives the crank call has to call... We'll try that one again, shall we? The caller who receives the crank call has to see who the distorted face on the television is, and if they get it right, they get 25 dinars. Also, during the game, each player has the opportunity to make one collect call, where they get to throw a question that they don't know the answer to the opposite player. If the opposite player gets the answer right, they get the points. But if they don't, no one gets the points. The player with the most points at the end of the game will win 100 dinars. So there you go. Let's get started. Start calling. The number is, one more time, 17871 441. And we can choose our contestants. I do believe we have someone on the line. Caller number 1, hello.
Hello?
Hi. Hello? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, can you turn your TV down a little bit?
Okay.
All right. Caller number 1, what's your name and where do you come from?
My name is Sadia. I study in Pakistan school.
Hi, Sadia. Are you feeling lucky? Let's hope you managed to get you to go home with 100 dinars.
Okay.
Do you understand the rules?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's go to caller number 2. Who's on line number 2?
Hello.
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 Hi.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
I'm fine as well.
What's your name and where do you come from?
I'm Abu Bakr Arshad. I'm Pakistani and I study in Bahrain University.
And what are you studying?
I'm doing my bachelor's in electronics engineering.
Ah, very good. Are you feeling lucky?
Yeah,
Are you going to win?
Let's hope so.
All right, let's start, shall we?
Yeah, indeed.
Here we go. Sadia, we're going to start with you.
Okay.
And question number 1 is a sports question.
Okay.
Whose boxing strategy is float like a butterfly, sting like a bee?
Muhammad Ali.
Just a minute, wait for the countdown to start.
Okay, sorry.
Okay. Go ahead.
Muhammad Ali.
Say that again.
Muhammad Ali.
Absolutely correct.
Bahrain, 55.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to Channel 55's Highlights program, your weekly program that discusses issues which affect your life, whether it's social, health, or economical and political issues. Our topic today is a very interesting topic. It's one of the oldest metabolic disturbances. It's obesity. Obesity is one of the oldest illnesses which people have suffered throughout history. Stone statues with obesity, Egyptian mummies and Greek sculptures have all been found to have a certain trace of obesity. Obesity is caused in an imbalance in food intake, and it's usually when there is food and abundance of time for leisure activities that persons develop obesity, and it's mainly a cause by an imbalance in energy intake and energy expenditure. And with me in the studio to discuss obesity, its causes, and what we can do to change it is Dr. Amina Al-Awadi, senior dietitian at Salmaniya Medical Complex. She's actually the head of the dietitian department at Salmaniya Medical Complex. And of course with me is Ron Levan, the director of Bahrain Sports Medicine Center. We welcome you, both of you, with us on Highlights, and we hope that in the coming hour we will be able to touch upon very important issues regarding obesity, and maybe we can reach some sort of conclusion about it. Dr. Amina, I would first like to start with our nutrition, our diet, our food. We know that it's composed of a lot of things, mainly carbohydrates, proteins, and fats. Now, what is the importance of all these components for us as human beings, for our living a healthy lifestyle? That, of course, includes the vitamins as well.
And the minerals.
And the minerals.
Yes. We need all of them together to make up so that our body can work. We need to have enough amount of carbohydrate, enough amount of protein, fat, vitamins, minerals, and of course water. Every day, by the end of the day, for a special amount, according to our age, work, and all of that together, so that by the end of the day we will not be deficient on any of these things. Day in, day out, every day we should have it, so that by the end of the day we won't get any deficiency, so that by the end of the year we won't get any deficiency, and so on and so forth, so we won't get any diseases of malnutrition or lack of any of the nutrients which gets into our body.
Mm-hmm. So, Dr. Amina, what is obesity? If I would have a definition for obesity, what would you describe obesity as?
Well, people define obesity in many ways, and many people define obesity in different ways, and sometimes in percentage overweight and things like that. But now I would like to show you this. This would be the easiest way of every person can find out where he is. Is he obese? Is he overweight? Is he underweight? Where he is on the chart by taking his weight in kilograms, dividing it by his height in meters squared, and then finding himself where he is on each of these colored ones. And then he knows whether he's underweight, good weight, or overweight, or obese. And through this, he can then decide what he wants to do.
This is the body mass index for people who don't know, right?
Index,
and it's very important if you want to find out whether you're an obese person or you're not an obese person.
Yes.
But can somebody find if you're obese, Ron? Can somebody find if you're obese by just looking at himself in the mirror? Some people say, no, I'm not obese, I'm a bit chubby, but I'm not obese, I'm a normal person. Is that true? Is there a certain standard of our physical appearance where somebody can judge that he's obese or not?
Well, again, it depends whose research you're reading or whose book you're reading, and the definition of obesity. As Dr. mentioned, it's sometimes, I've read one article that defines it as 30 pounds overweight. Well, that cannot be true across the board, or it's a percent of the body fat. When they get above 18 or 20% body fat, maybe for men, then they're obese. But one simple way I've heard them describe is just a pinch test, whereas somebody stands in front of the mirror in their shorts, and then they see how, when they pinch here on the side, how much pinch do they have between their thumb and their index finger, because most of that is all skin and fat between the fingers. It's not muscle that we squeeze. And when you get up to, 2, 3, 4 inches, then you are getting into the range of being obese. And then you'll begin to see, men will first begin to show their excess weight around their tummy or the spare tire, whereas ladies may begin to show it on their thighs or on their hips or elsewhere.
Is that what they call the pear of the apple?
Well, maybe, yeah. Yes. And as you continue to lay down fat, then it begins to deposit itself all over the body. And when you begin to see deposition of fat, you know, all over the body, and you see the folds of skin, then you are definitely in the range of being obese and not just overweight.
Well, our topic tonight, ladies and gentlemen, is obesity. If you'd like to join, our telephone number is 682253. That's 682253, and our fax number is 870112. Dr. Amina, are some bodies more prone to being obese than other bodies? Some people say that, well, for example, two brothers or two friends, they say, well, we eat the same things. How come John doesn't gain that much, and Ahmed, he seems to be very obese? Is there something related to the certain bodies or whichever types of food that we eat? Does all this affect us?
Yes, yes. Usually, overweight and obese people, they underestimate what they eat. And they say, but I eat exactly like my friend, but my friend is slimmer than me. Well, most probably he's not eating exactly like his friend. Okay, he's not with his friend 24 hours a day. So by the time he goes home, or even if they are brothers and sisters, when they separate, then one of the overweight person, for sure he is eating more, or he's moving less. So he is, the energy expenditure of that person is less, because nothing comes from nothing. You cannot just gain weight from nothing. And many people say maybe it's genetic and things like that, but the genetic theory is very small and it's not that much. Usually when nutritionists or dietitians, they do experiments on people, and they keep people in close places and they feed them themselves, they find out that they lose weight. While if the same people are outside in their own houses and they only report how much they are eating and how much exercise they are doing, they find it is difficult to lose weight. But the same people, when they put them in a place controlled with food and exercise, they do lose weight. So it is how much we eat and how much we expend energy, more than anything to do with genetics.
Yes, Ron?
Yeah, and you know, to add to that, you'll find, especially in children, they'll snack so often in between the meals. Then when they come to the meal, they don't eat much, and mother and father says, they don't eat. You know, how can they be so overweight? Well, it's all the consumption of calories in between the meals that they eat, with some of the very high fat snacks and things that promote that. And so then they tend to develop these poor nutritional habits throughout life. And really oftentimes people will tend to blame it on my metabolism or my genetics that I inherited from my obese mom and dad maybe. That's really not usually the case. What they inherit is a lifestyle and a life habit of poor nutritional habits. So if you find an obese child, you'll often find one or two obese parents to go along with it, and they take on their lifestyle of lack of activity and lack of good nutritional habits, and so then they grow up to be adult obese people because they have those poor habits when they're younger.
Dr. Amina, Ron was just saying about the lifestyles. Of course, being the head of the dietetics department at Salmania Medical Complex, you've probably seen a lot of cases where adults as well as youngsters come in with very severe cases of obesity. How would you define the status of the health standards in Bahrain, or the health situation concerning obesity? Is the population very obese, or are we reaching that stage? And would you also think it's caused by our lifestyle, maybe because of the certain modernization and development which has happened, we tend less to exercise and more to eat?
Yes. We are becoming more obese. A generation ago, we were less obese, and now we are getting more obese. And the problem is that the Bahraini population is mainly children. And that's the problem, where these children are becoming more and more overweight, and which shows that they will become overweight or obese adults. And that's the concern there. Of course, it's the lifestyle. Sitting down all the time in front of TV or PlayStation and things like that, and then using a lot of cars, eating fast food is one of the reasons also, which is eating outside. The food cooked outside has more fat in it, so it means more calories in it. So people find it easier being both of parents working, easier to eat outside. So that's another problem we are facing in Bahrain. And the lifestyle also, plus that women usually in Bahrain have less places to walk or to do exercises, and from the habits of the at home is the girl, when she gets married, then all her life is for her husband and children, so she usually forgets about herself. So after each delivery she gains weight, and then she finds it very hard to lose, and she finds it very hard to have time to go to do any kind of exercise. What I mean by go and do exercise, I don't mean going to health centers and do exercise. Just, I'm sure Dr. Ron will know better than me, just walking and doing some kind of exercise. She finds it difficult to do it. And then with the second child, then she gets more and more and go on like that. Progresses. Exactly. So that then she reaches a place where she's overweight or obese, while her husband is probably the same or a little bit, just gained a little bit of weight, and that's a problem we face.
One of Dr. Musager's studies that he did in 1980 that I read showed that there was an increase of 26% in obesity in Bahraini mothers from a prior study, and it led up to 65% of mothers being obese, which I found to be astounding, that more than half are obese. And it follows a study done in the United States where in 1991 they found 12% of the population being obese, and then later in 98 it increased to 18%. And so in just a span of less than 10 years, we went from 12 to 18% of our population, and that's across the board, male, female, young or old. There was no difference. And almost 1/5 of the American population is obese. That's an epidemic rate of obesity increasing. And again, it goes to show it's not genetics, because our genes didn't change over that 8-year period. It is lifestyle choices and habits that we have to consume too many calories and not expend enough.
Well, our topic tonight is obesity. If you'd like to join in, if you have a question which the guest speakers would like to answer, you can call us on 682253 or fax 870112. Dr. Amina, Ron was just speaking about the calories. Some people find it difficult to understand this calorie concept. We sometimes go to the supermarkets and we buy things, and we say, well, how will I know the calorie of this canned food or this apple or this vegetable, fruit or meat? What is this calorie unit? Is it something tangible we can actually measure, or is it just an estimated unit?
Well, it is an estimated unit. Usually, like they say, vegetables, mainly like salad is free. You can have as much as you want because the calories in it are very little. Then they go to the fat, where they say it has a lot of calories, then they have to reduce it. And there is a measurement for it, like 1 gram of fat will give me 9 kilocalories, while 1 gram of carbohydrate will give me only 4 kilocalories, which shows that the carbohydrate is the blamed for, but it has less calories than fat. What I always say is that losing weight is a very difficult thing. People usually think it is easy. It is not easy. It is very difficult, because eating is a pleasure, okay? And that's why when we get together on something to eat, okay? So it's a pleasure to have, and we cannot ask people not to have this pleasure. But the main issue is to eat less of whatever the food is, especially the food which is cooked, which has fat in it, whether it's cooked in fat or it's added fat to it, because the main problem is fat. Since fat has double the calories of carbohydrate and protein, so the main thing is fat. So if we reduce the fat intake, usually, we would reduce a lot of our calorie intake. And if we eat more fruits and vegetables, which Bahrainis do not usually eat, and we get a lot of problems of mothers coming and saying, but my child doesn't eat any vegetables. You know, how come he ate the first year, but he's not eating now after he got into his second or third year?
Is it because the children are having a freedom to choose what they want to eat, or is it because it's a trend nowadays that children refuse to eat vegetables and fruits.
No, I think it's because more of the habits. There is no vegetables on the table so that the child would eat. Okay, so what I tell, always have vegetables available, always have vegetables as salad available on the table, so that, and then the parents should eat, because I always say the only thing that one person eats in the family, the others don't eat, is medicine. Mm-hmm. You know, I cannot eat, I cannot have a medicine when I'm not sick. If you are sick, then you take the flu medicine. I wouldn't take the flu medicine. Right. Okay, so how could a family expect the children and the others partners in the family to eat the vegetables when the parents themselves are not eating the vegetables? Right. So this is very important, that all the family should eat the vegetables. The same thing, vegetables, which is cooked vegetables and salad, and then the same thing for fruits, that we have to eat fruits. People usually in Bahrain, they eat sweet food after lunch.
And vitamin supplements. They say, well, I don't want to eat, for example, oranges for vitamin C, but I will take a vitamin supplements tablet. Is that sufficient? Because we see this growing phenomenon, not just in Bahrain, worldwide. People just, instead of eating the normal fruits and vegetables for their various nutrients and minerals, they start taking the tablets. Is that a healthy trend, or does it have implications?
Of course, because the fruit itself, which has the vitamins, it not only have that vitamin, but it has the fiber, it has other minerals, and every day we're discovering new minerals that we need in minute, small amount that we didn't know before, and that is in the natural food. And as I said, food is amusing, is something nice. Why should I stop having it and having a tablet? So let me go to the nature and eat the natural food.
We thank you both, Ron Levon, the director of Bahrain Sports Medicine Center, and Dr. Amin Al-Awadi. Thank you a lot. We thank you for being with us this hour on Highlights. Our topic was obesity, and as we saw, that the most important thing is exercising and maintaining a balanced diet. If we maintain a balanced diet, eating fruits, vegetables, and of course meat and other types of food, and maybe as well fast food and fizzy drinks moderately, and of course exercise 3 times a week, even walking, we will be able to maintain a balanced diet, a healthy life, and we could live longer. Thank you again for being with us. Our topic next week on Highlights will be stress and depression and how to cope with them. Thank you for being with us tonight.